some point during this interview when you were able to plan your lie about this event. And you made that decision.
Obviously,
but it wasn't what we just played. It wasn't yet. It was some point after that.
I don't think that's a lie right there. Is the reason why I don't think that it's occurred before this, because what I'm saying there, I believe to be truthful. And I know this. I know for a fact that when David Owens asked me about my relationship with my wife and my child, I know that that played a role in that. And I believe that, and I may be wrong, but I believe that this was before that.
You ever heard the expression, not telling the whole truth is the same as telling the lie?
Sure I have.
That's something you understood as a lawyer and a prosecutor?
Yes.
At the time, you weren't buying it.
No, I wasn't.
Did it just, what about it didn't ring true with you?
He just didn't come off true. I mean, when you look at him in his face and he doesn't cry, you know, I mean, it's just not true.
Vinnie, you're watching this live at the time, right?
Absolutely.
What about it jumped out at you?
You know what I didn't understand? You know, he chose to have the trial where it was. Most high-profile cases we cover at Court TV, the defendants don't want to be anywhere near the scene of the murder. He wanted to be there. So as I watched him, I was wondering, does he think that he can convince these folks because maybe he's been doing it for years? You know, in terms of the clients that he's been cheating for years, his law partners, everyone's from down there. And he's been basically lying and cheating and committing fraud with a smile on his face.
You know, he sees it intuitively, and you guys saw a list of behaviors that from an expert standpoint jumped out. Give us a few of the big ones.
Well, one of the big ones is fading facts. When he starts hitting him on the details of that, as he speaks, he gets quieter and quieter as it goes along. The more uncomfortable you are with the answer, the less you want to go, it's this. You want to go, it's this. So you're more apt to start getting quieter. And he leans back just a touch if we'll look at that closely.
Okay. And what about him keep grabbing this mic and adjusting it?
Well,
neither of them were moving.
Right.
So
that's more of an adapter. He's trying to get rid of that built-up stress or tension, something to hang on to, something to grab onto to make him, to settle him down a little bit. If you'll notice, Craig, his hand's been doing this pretty much the whole time he's been here, but that we've been sitting up here because it's a big deal for him. But he's trying to get rid of some of that stress by rubbing on his hand a little bit like that. So Murdaugh is using that microphone, just something to do, anything to get rid of some of that energy that's building up, that stress, so it doesn't show when he's giving his answer.
But a great indicator to me that he's lying in places here is he lilts along and tells his story when it's prepared with a downward intonation. And then when he gets in a bind, his story starts to go, he starts to hesitate. And I'm sure you could feel it. You could tell when he's lying. This one, the reason we think it's the most powerful is we called out, long before he was on the stand, we called out the lie in the video when he decided to lie. There were so many red flags in the vehicle that we said, something has happened right here. And it was around whether he was there or not.
And what jumped out about?
Well, there's a place where they ask him, what was your relationship with Paul? And he goes, wonderful. And they said, what was your relationship with Maggie? And he goes, wonderful, and changes directions, tone, and blink rate. And so there we knew, this is a great example of why body language matters. The same words don't mean the same thing. Something is wrong between those two relationships. We don't know which, why, we just know there's a red flag.
Those are just red flags that give us a heads up to start asking questions more around what's happening with that.
Yeah, and there are like a couple of hundred indicators, and it's like whack-a-mole. You can't control them all, even if you know what they are.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, it's worse, honestly, for us if we were trying to hide something. It is for you if you don't know, because you'll have a couple you think you're supposed to hide, and you'll get, there's one up there, you'll get overly polite. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, yes. You start getting too friendly. We go, hold on. Something's up.
Yeah, because you're solicitous. You're trying to endear yourself to the person. Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.